Okay, everyone. Thank you very much for your interest and welcome to this open information session for the Yenching Academy of Peking University with a special focus on potential applicants from Latin America. My name is Brent Haas. I'm Associate Dean, Distinguished Associate Professor, and Director of Admissions here at the Yenching Academy. Normally, I would be dialing in from Beijing, but we are currently in Chengdu in Sichuan Province in Southwest China on our week-long field study course. It's one of the required courses that all Yenching scholars will experience in their first year, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it coming up. So I'm taking a break from today's field study activities as our students are up in the mountains, but I am here in a hotel speaking with all of you today, and it's my pleasure to be doing so. Okay, Yenching Academy is proudly a part of Peking University. Founded in 1898, Peking University is China's oldest, most historically significant, and we believe best institution of higher education in the mainland. It was founded in 1898 as the Imperial University of Peking, and it remains really the best one or two universities in China. Specifically, we're very strong in our focus in humanities and social sciences here at Beida, as we like to say in Chinese. Peking University is an absolutely beautiful campus. PKU used to be part of an imperial summer palace complex for the emperors of the Qing dynasty, which ruled from 1644 until the beginning of 1912. So you can see scenes like this here, or like this here, as you live, work, and study at Beida. Jingyuan Courtyard is an area in the central western part of Peking University's campus, and it's really the center of life at the Yenching Academy. Since our administration building is housed in Jingyuan Courtyard 3 and our teaching building is housed in Jingyuan Courtyard 4. Moreover, at the south end of the Jingyuan sort of grassy area, we have our underground large lecture hall and event spaces as well. So this is also about 100 meters away from the Yenching Academy House, the dormitory where all first-year Yenching scholars live together on campus. You can see a perfectly timed photo of one of our teaching rooms here in the upper center. And then the upper right and the bottom left, these are the exteriors of two of our buildings. Jingyuan was built in the late 1920s, early 1930s as part of a previous university that was housed on this campus until 1952, when Peking University moved from their original campus closer to the city center out to the Beida campus that we know and love today. And the cat that you see there is actually one of the now 3 cats that live in our courtyard. His name is Feng Zhua. Peking University's one of their most active student clubs is related to the semi-wild cats that live on campus. It's devoted to taking care of the cats, monitoring their daily activities, posting it on social media, and should there be an interested party, putting them up for adoption. Peking University has just under 13,000 faculty members that are divided into 50 departments. And those faculty, along with the dedicated professional administrative staff at PKU, serve roughly 50,000 students in any given year. So let me tell you a little bit about what our program really is. We are a 2-year fully funded master's program that focus on interdisciplinary studies of China. I've run the admissions program for now 4 or 5 years, and I can personally attest that those young people who join the Yenching Academy as Yenching scholars are really, really impressive. They're very, very interesting. They come from all walks of life, all over the world. And as much as I wish that students would remember the professionalism of the admissions process or some wonderful Chinese history courses that they took, really what you're going to hear is that the most memorable, most influential part of their time at Yenching Academy is their classmates, colleagues, and friends, essentially the other Yenching scholars. In my opinion, we're also part of what I think is a really fascinating process. And this is a process of defining what China studies means as an academic discipline when it's done in China. Because if you look at the various histories of sinology and China studies around the world, from Matteo Ricci and the Jesuits to British consuls and missionaries who then become linguistic experts and the first professors of Chinese at major UK universities, to say John King Fairbank and the Harvard School, the implementation of the area studies model in the late 20th century. One of the key through lines in this diverse history is distance. It's studying China from afar, from the outside. We try to remove that distance and bring Yenching scholars to China, to Beijing, to Peking University to learn from the top Chinese faculty members in the country. So that's what we're interested in doing, and I think it's a fascinating process to be a part of. Now, the language of instruction and administration at Yenching Academy is English. No prior proficiency in Chinese is required for admission. That having been said, if you do have a Chinese language background or academic training related to Chinese language, to China studies, if you've lived in China, if you've traveled in China, if you've done research projects related to China, then I recommend you emphasize that in your application package. It can be a competitive advantage, though it's not a requirement. I personally think that it's really beneficial to have not only people from different cultures, from different countries, but people with different levels of academic engagement, training related to China before they come into the program, all sitting in the classroom together. If everyone was a major in East Asian languages and literatures, or if everyone had zero background related to China, then I'd feel like the questions asked and the reactions to the readings and to the lectures might be somewhat similar. When you have people who are on their way to becoming an academic, focusing on China, those who are just now beginning their academic relationship with China, or people who have absolutely zero background all together in the same class, I think that makes for a much more interesting discussion. And at Yenching Academy, we are highly integrated into Peking University's Humanities and Social Sciences from a faculty perspective and other classes. And therefore, we encourage our students to take other courses outside of Yenching Academy in departments and schools at Peking University. For most of our students, that's going to mean that you'll take courses that are offered in English. But if you are highly proficient in Chinese language, there are options for you to take courses for credit or just as a listener in other departments and schools taught in Chinese. Let's talk funding, because at least in North America, it's very, very difficult to find a fully funded master's program. We try to solve that problem for you with a generous financial package, the Yenching Fellowship. Our fellowship includes full tuition payment. It includes accommodation, which in the first year will be on campus in the Yenching Academy House, a dormitory nicely renovated specifically for Yenching scholars. And in year two, either on campus or you can live off campus in an apartment in Beijing. And if you choose to live off campus, we offer you a housing stipend that will be sufficient for covering a private room in a shared apartment, but not really enough for your own individual apartment. Please don't be misinformed. Beijing is not that cheap anymore, unfortunately. We also offer all of our Yenching scholars a monthly stipend for living expenses of 3,000 renminbi per month. We also cover one round trip travel from your home country or home city to and from Beijing. Ideally, that will be at the beginning of your first year and when you graduate. But should you need to or want to go back home or to visit friends at the end of your first academic year, we will cover that return trip. You just are responsible for getting yourself back to Beijing for your second year. We also offer basic medical insurance. This is medical insurance that's intended for international students living and studying in China. If you have other medical coverage, I recommend you keep it. The medical insurance for international students in China is perfectly fine for minor or sort of medium level health issues. Hopefully you won't need any more serious treatments while you're here with us, but just in case, I recommend you don't cancel any other health insurance coverage that you might have. We also have plenty of other funding opportunities in the first and second year. I'll tell you a little bit more about those later. How about now? So in the first year, the major funding opportunity is called the Dean's Research Grant. It is a competitive research fellowship offered for Yenching scholars to conduct individual or small group extracurricular field research projects. You will submit a fully formed, well thought out research proposal. And if we believe that you are able to complete the research and it adds value to our academic understanding of China, we will fund you. the end of your first year, we also have opportunity grants. This will also continue into your second year. Opportunity grants are there, say if you are going to present a paper at an academic conference or a symposium, we'll fund part of your travel and expenses to allow you to do so. In the second year, we have many opportunities. These include academic exchanges, like with Cornell University, Seoul National University, Waseda University. Also, you're able to take advantage of the education abroad exchange opportunities run through Peking University itself. We also offer a language enrichment fellowship. This is as well offered on a competitive basis, but it's for continued intensive study of Chinese language in year 2. And you can also contribute to the Academy as a teaching assistant, a residential assistant, or working in one of our offices, a way to get to know the Academy from a different side, as well as get a little extra money in your pocket. I should emphasize that, this is a really big investment that we're making, not only in individual Yenching scholars, but in the entire student body as a whole, when you consider that we have roughly 115 to 120 Yenching scholars coming in every year. So roughly 240 to 250 Yenching scholars in our 2-year program. With that in mind, we do have an academic performance review. This review is based on some very clearly laid out, easily achievable academic standards, like taking the minimum required number of academic credits in your first year, maintaining a certain minimum GPA, not violating the student code of conduct or breaking the laws of the PRC. If you meet these standards, you will receive second-year funding. Okay, this is a really, really important slide for you to focus on. These are the 6 research areas at Yenching Academy. You can see that each of them, economics and management, literature and culture, they are very broad and very interdisciplinary. But this is how we are fitting interdisciplinary China studies into the People's Republic of China's Ministry of Education's recognized degree programs at the graduate level. These will be important to your experience in 3 ways. First, when you apply to Yenching Academy, you choose one of these research areas to focus on. Second, when you select a thesis advisor at the end of your first academic year, that thesis advisor must come from one of the departments or schools related to your research concentration. And finally, when you graduate, this is what will show up on your diploma. It will say, for instance, Peking University, Master of Economics, and below that, China Studies Economics and Management, or Peking University, Master of History, below that, China Studies History and Archaeology. This is because China Studies currently in China is defined as a second level academic area of study and not a first level. Let's talk a little bit about the application stage. You need to be strategic when you apply to Yenching Academy and select one of these 6 research areas. I don't mean you only can apply to a research area that you already have a degree in or that you're about to graduate from with a degree. I'm not saying you can only apply to China Studies, History, and Archaeology if you soon have a degree in history. But what I do want to emphasize is, as part of the admissions process, we have a responsibility not only to select the best and brightest students, but also to do our best to ensure that those students who are accepted to the program have a high chance of success for studying and conducting research at the graduate level in the area, the research concentration that you've applied to. So, for instance, if you were studying comparative literature, or maybe if you're studying sociology, in your bachelor's program, but you're applying to economics and management, well, that doesn't seem to be a one-to-one correlation. So we're going to look at your academic record and think, okay, do they have a minor concentration in economics? Have they taken macroeconomics, microeconomics, statistical analysis? Basically, we're going to look into your academic background to try to ensure that you are well prepared for the research area to which you're applying. You should study what you're interested in, what fascinates you at the graduate level. But similarly, you should also have some foundation in the area to which you're applying. I hope that makes sense. If you have questions about this or any other topics, please feel free to type them into the Q&A or chat function, and either one of my staff members or I will answer your questions coming up. Here's a little bit of the course offerings at Yenching Academy. I should emphasize that all academic courses are completed in your first year. The second year at YCA is devoted to, say, internships, to research, to conceptualize and carrying out your master's thesis research project. It is the year when you can explore, you can dig deep, you can really begin to experience not only Beijing, but China as a whole. I'd like to emphasize China in Transition 1 and 2. This is our flagship course. The first semester is an interdisciplinary look at contemporary China. It's co-taught by 12 to 15 Peking University professors. There'll be a module on the Chinese economy, the Chinese political system, Chinese society, Chinese culture, etc. The spring semester of China in Transition, however, is a field research focused course. You then take a course taught individually by one of the people who co-taught the fall semester. And that course is devoted to a faculty member guiding you to develop and carry out and write up your own field research project somewhere outside of Beijing. The goal of this course is that by the end of the spring semester, you will already have faculty-led, on-the-ground field research experience in China, even before you start the work formally on your master's thesis. All Yenching scholars, unless they have already reached a level of professional fluency, are required to take Chinese language courses. How do you confirm that you've reached a level of professional fluency? Well, China's standard is called the HSK, the Hanyu Shuiping Kaoshi. If you have passed HSK level 6, you are able to place out of our Chinese as a second language course, but you are still required to fulfill the same number of academic course credits. And we recommend that you do at least one course per semester in another department in school taught in Chinese. It's an awesome opportunity, but a significant challenge as well. Okay, these next two slides are going to show you, pardon me, the major elective courses taught at YCA for this academic year, 2023 to 2024. This slide here shows you the sort of social sciences and economics courses. I want to emphasize that even though they're organized in columns based on the research area, you can take whatever elective course you want as long as it fits into your schedule, and hopefully it helps build you into a more effective scholar for your second year. Most of these are taught in English unless you see indicated taught in Chinese, like rural Chinese, China studies, and Chinese politics and historical perspective. This slide here shows the courses on offer and broadly define the humanities. If you're interested, I teach history of the field, sinology, and China studies from a global perspective, and the modern Chinese history seminar in the spring semester. You'll see later that the majority of our students join our program focusing on politics and international relations, economics and management, and some in law and society. So that's why we have more course offerings in the social sciences than we do in the humanities. But we're always in a process of adjusting and improving our course offerings based on intakes of new Yenching scholars. The academic advisors of the program are a really, really important part of your experience at Peking University, and to my knowledge, a highly unique system within graduate education in mainland China. We have over 140 academic advisors that come from these 24 different schools and departments. Most Yenching scholars will have 2 academic advisors in their 2 years here. First year is called the faculty advisor. That person is there to essentially be your tour guide, to open doors for you, to introduce you to the faculty and academic culture at Peking University. Now, it's wonderful if your first year faculty advisor becomes your second year thesis advisor, but it's not required. We don't think that it's reasonable to require Yenching scholars to know exactly who their thesis advisor will be immediately when they enroll in the program. Your first year faculty advisor might be the perfect scholar to guide your research, but if they are not, they probably know who is. So one of their key roles is introducing you to other faculty members, their colleagues at the university. The fall field study, you can see here, this is where I am right now. I'm in Chengdu in China. Let's see, on this trip, we have had a very intense but very exciting and comprehensive introduction to two important cities in Southwest China, Chongqing, a incredibly large municipality direct at the same administrative level as a province, and Chengdu, the capital of Sichuan province, right next to Chongqing. We've been to the headquarters of where Chiang Kai-shek and Nationalist China commanded the war against Japan from the 1939 until 1945. We've been to Peking University's Big Data Research Center in Chongqing. We've been to the Sanxingdui archaeological excavation site and museum. Yes, we did go see the pandas. I feel like that was 2 days ago. Yes, we have eaten spicy Sichuan food. But this is a required course with pre-departure lectures, assigned readings, site visits, interviews, all building up to a field reflection paper. It's not an actual research paper, but it combines your experiences on the ground with the academic content that we've assigned to you beforehand. It's a really fun, but pretty intense week-long travel learning experience. Remember how I mentioned China in Transition, the second semester of our flagship first year course. You can see in 2023, we had 34 different groups of students led by faculty members visit 18 different regions around China, all part of their required course field research component in China in Transition. Obviously, and unfortunately, from 2020 through 2022, we had to vastly decrease our on-the-ground field research content because of travel restrictions related to COVID control policies in China. But thankfully, that is all in the past right now, and we are back running at full speed with everyone on the ground, everyone in person. There is going to be so much going on at YCA outside of classes that you will not be able to attend everything. You really shouldn't try to do everything extracurricular at Yenching Academy. You will be graduate students, so you should be tired. You're not supposed to sleep as much as normal human beings do when you're studying in a graduate program, but there is a limit to that. However, one of our key events and institutions is the Yenching Global Symposium. This is an international China Studies conference that brings 100 or more young delegates, either students or people at the early stages of their career, to China to engage with Yenching scholars, to attend a long weekend of a conference with keynote speakers, symposia, discussions, networking sessions, etc. This is conceptualized, organized, and run by Yenching scholars. You can see the themes of the first 6 Yenching Global Symposia. Last academic year, but this calendar year, in April of 2023, was the first time that we took the Yenching Global Symposium outside of Beijing. We went down to Hainan, an island province in southeastern China, for the theme of the conference, Humanity Cartographies of Collaboration. It was, once again, an intense but a really rewarding academic conference experience. You can choose, should you like to, in your first year, be a member of the executive committee or of the organizing team of the Yenching Global Symposium. It is a lot of work. It's a major, major commitment, but it can be a really, really rewarding activity. Some stats. So over the first 9 cohorts of Yenching scholars, you can see here, we've had just under 1,000 students join us from 82 different countries and regions. About 40% from Asia, and that's including a hard quota every year of 27 scholars from mainland China. About 25% from Europe, just over 25% from North America, 4% from Africa, and 5% from Latin America. Now, in Latin America, like Africa, we obviously have some work to do to improve our enrollments from the region, and we're very much focused on that. We do have really good academic institutional relationships with universities from, say, UNAM in Mexico, all the way down to multiple universities in Buenos Aires, as well as in Chile. But we're really looking to get more applicants from Latin America. And that's why we're holding today's information session with 2, one current Yenching scholar and one alum, Yenching Academy alum, both from the region. So you can see where we've had some students join us from Latin America. Okay, of our, just under 1,000 students over the first 9 years of our program, We've had scholars join us from 374 universities around the world. What you're looking at here are the universities that have placed the highest number of graduates in Yenching Academy. You do not have to be from one of these universities to get into the program. These are just the universities that have been highly successful in placing graduates in our program. Most Yenching scholars come into the program with a bachelor's degree. Quite a few apply to our program in the final year of their bachelor's program. But anywhere from 15 to even 25% in any given year of Yenching scholars already have other postgraduate degrees. In most cases, it's a master's degree, maybe a law degree, or sometimes an MBA. So if you're applying while you're finishing your BA, or you only have a BA, you will not be competitively disadvantaged. We like having a mixture of students with different academic backgrounds, all interested in China, taking classes together. Here you can see the breakdown of the research areas that Yenching scholars have chosen. Politics and IR, about 36%, economics and management, 30%, law and society, just over 15%. So these sort of economics and social sciences. The good old humanities, added up together, make up about 20%. Now, I want to emphasize this is not planned. You know, if we had a quota, if we planned this out, I assure you that it would be much more evenly spread. This just represents what the best applicants in any given year were interested in focusing on at YCA. And, you know, you're not going to find an advantage, or you will not be disadvantaged by applying to one or the other research areas. You should focus on what you're interested in and apply to an area that you have academic training in. So we've had 50 scholars from Latin America join us over our first 9 years. Half of them have chosen politics and international relations, economics and management, roughly 22%, history and archaeology, my field, 8%, philosophy and religion, 2%, and law and society, 14%. So this is essentially, you know, scholars from Latin America are more or less following the pattern of research areas and interest in those areas, with some slight variations. So those who've joined Yenching Academy from Latin America have previously attended 22 universities in the region. So you can get a sense of some of the universities that have been placing, some of the Latin American universities that have been placing Yenching scholars in the program over the last 9 years. You know, we are very active in bringing in leading figures in different fields, different industries, to come to Yenching Academy, to give a lecture, to share their ideas and their experience, and to get to know Yenching scholars. Most recently, we had the former Prime Minister of France, Jean-Pierre Raffarin, join us. He has now been named the Xu Chair Professor at Yenching Academy. So he's going to be offering a course that he and some of his colleagues teach in global affairs and leadership. We had the Irish ambassador to China, Anne Derwin. She gave a really, really awesome talk. So we bring in leaders from around the world to engage with the Yenching scholars. They're not always from the diplomatic corps, but quite often they are. And this is partly because many Yenching scholars are interested in foreign affairs and diplomacy. We've been, based on feedback from Yenching scholars over the first 9 years, we've been emphasizing more and more our career development, extracurricular content. I think the key initiative that we've brought to Yenching scholars is called the Professional Mentor Program, the 业界导师, where we have about 15 to 20 professional mentors, all based in Beijing, but not necessarily Chinese. From different careers, different walks of life, who are interested in mentoring Yenching scholars. So we have the World Bank's chief China economist based in Beijing. He's one of our professional mentors. We have someone who's founded major charities in China. Now that charity work is mainly focused on disaster relief abroad. We have people in the tech space. We have people in finance and government affairs, etc. After graduation, Yenching scholars are really successful, taking the next step in their careers. Most of them, I would say about two-thirds, roughly, two-thirds to three-quarters, go on to the professional stage of their life. Maybe it's for a consulting firm, an international organization, government service, you name it. You can see some of the institutions where Yenching scholars are gainfully employed on the right. On the left, you see some of the top universities around the world where about 20 to 25% of Yenching scholars go on for further graduate study, normally at the doctoral level. So you don't have to be on your way to be a research and teaching scholar to become a Yenching scholar, but about 20% of Yenching scholars do take that path. So let's talk application process in the last stage, the last sort of section of my presentation. So the minimum, most basic requirement is that you have to finish your bachelor's degree before you enroll in our program. So you can be in the final year of your bachelor's program, apply now, as long as you graduate before August, the end of August of next year. Essentially, you can't be a graduate student until you finish college. Pardon me? So we do value outstanding academic performance in applicants to the program. It's not all we look at. We do not have a minimum GPA. It's not 3.99 or don't even consider applying. It's not honors first class or don't even consider applying. We don't work like that in the application process, but we're a highly competitive graduate program. And so those who are successful in the application process do have outstanding academic records. But we want to know more about you than just your academic record, because you don't only come to us as a student in the classroom. You're literally living with your classmates. You're living with your classmates 100 meters away from our teaching and our administration building. If you've been fortunate enough to have a study abroad experience, I think you'll find that it is a really fun, really rewarding, but sometimes very intense process. You're in a different culture, potentially a different language environment, different political system, and a different academic administrative system as well. So relationships are built quickly. You become close friends more quickly than perhaps you would in other situations, but it can be really challenging and intense. So we want to know who you are as a person, how you might fit into our student community, and thinking from a little more utilitarian perspective, what are you good at outside of the class? Are you a musician or an artist? Do you have a startup? These are things that we're curious about. So we want to think, what can you add to our student community outside of the classroom? We highly value students who are focused on, celebrate cultural diversity, or who have experience in intercultural communication, because it is a truly diverse community of young scholars that you will be living and studying with. We also, as a China studies focused academic program, we want to know why you're interested in China. Again, you don't have to be a full-on, China nerd on your way to becoming a professor of Chinese history or of Chinese international policy. But we do want to know why you want to come to China, why you want to come to Yenching Academy. At YCA, we do not tell you what to think about China. We do challenge your views. You do hear different perspectives from Chinese academics, Chinese scholars, from other people around the world. But Yenching scholars are way too smart, way too accomplished to be told what to think essentially about anything, much less about China as a whole. But we do want people who are committed to having China be a part of their professional profile. China is not going anywhere. The Chinese relationship with regions and countries around the world is absolutely essential. This conversation will be continuing for the rest of my and your lives. And we want Yenching scholars who will be part of that conversation. We want you to be informed. We want you to be experts. We want you to contribute to the discussion about China. And just like any graduate application, just like any good job application, tell us why you're interested in our program, what you hope to achieve, how you think we can help you achieve those goals. Okay, Applications are due on December 3rd of 2023. You can apply at this website link you see here, apply.yca.pku.edu.cn. You need to check our website and see if you are a current student or an alumnus of one of our partner universities. We have a list on the website. We have over 50 partner universities around the world. They know Yenching Academy. They know what we're looking for. We are colleagues with them. We trust their evaluation. So if you are from a partner university, you first apply to your home campus. The first round of admissions decisions are carried out at the partner university's home campus, and partner nominees enter our process in round 2. Essentially, they are not reviewed by our admissions team. They're reviewed by faculty and fellowship advisors at their home university, and they're nominated into round 2, where they come to my desk. And then round 3, the final round, is interviews. So we will need a certificate of English proficiency if your native language is not English, or if you have not studied at or graduated from an English taught degree program. So if you're essentially going to college in an English speaking country or at an English speaking university, you will not need to submit your certificate of English proficiency. Otherwise, you will need to. We need to see certificates of enrollment, essentially a document from your university registrar if you haven't graduated yet, saying, yes, this person is a full-time student in our program and they're proceeding towards graduation. If you have graduated from a degree program, a bachelor, a master's, a law degree, we need to see your diploma. We have a new requirement, and this is we need an overseas credential evaluation. This is essentially a Chinese academic certification company here. Please go to our website to see what you need. It's essentially you submit your documents and your information, and they check up on it. We need official transcripts from any degree programs that you've attended or graduated from. So your course record with your grades. We have 2 essays. Personal statement, maximum 750 words in English. This is your self-introduction to Yenching Academy. Think of it as your cover letter for this application. Who you are, where you're from, why you're interested in Yenching Academy, what you hope to do here, where you're going in your career, etc. We also have a statement of research interest, maximum 1,500 words, excluding citations. If the personal statement is the essay, it's sort of your cover letter essay, the statement of research interest is your academic, intellectual self-introduction to us. You should tell us what you hope to explore from a research perspective at Yenching Academy. This does not commit you to making that topic be your thesis, but it is a formal academic document. You should engage with academic literature, secondary literature on the topic or topics that you're interested in exploring. You should sort of set the scene, give us a more of a, as focused as you can about what you maybe want to study, maybe questions you hope to answer, or problems or topics you hope to explore. Maybe give us some suggestions about how you might want to answer those questions. Are you interested in doing interviews? Is this a historical archival? Are you doing archival research topic? Are you looking for maybe doing online, surveys? How do you think you want to try to answer the questions? And remember, for any graduate program, including Yenching Academy, if they have a research statement, you really must include engagement with the research results written by other scholars. Do not write a research statement for any grad school application and not use secondary source citations. We need to see your resume, and we need 2 letters of recommendation. These must be academic letters of recommendation, and they must be from associate professors or full professors. This is a standard for top Chinese graduate programs. If you have, say, a lecturer or an assistant professor who you think would write a great letter for you, you can include it, but it must be as an additional document and can't fulfill the academic letters of recommendation requirement. So here's our social media presence. You can contact us at yca-admissions@pku.edu.cn. Please go to our website, Yenching Academy at .pku.edu.cn. look at our program, look at our course offerings, really focus on the profiles of current Yenching scholars. You can see the 2 classes that are currently with us. I think it should build your confidence. You will see just how diverse the backgrounds of Yenching scholars are. And I don't mean regional, culturally, linguistically diverse. I mean the interesting things they've done in their background, whether what they've studied, what kind of work they've done that has allowed them to get to this point of being a Yenching scholar, what they're doing here and where they want to go in their careers. If you are using, Chinese social media, you can follow us on WeChat at 北京大学燕京学堂. You can follow us at LinkedIn, Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you so much for your interest and for your focus listening to my presentation. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and step back. And then we're very fortunate to hear from 2 of our really outstanding Yenching scholars, one who's already graduated, one who will be graduating in May. So let me stop sharing my screen. Did you still see my screen share? No?
No.
Okay, good. Excellent. Well, I'm going to turn off my video for a minute, have some more coffee, but I'll be sitting here listening and ready to answer any questions if people have any. So Jorge, the floor is now yours.
Perfect. Let me share. Thank you, Brent. Can you guys see the presentation? It will be very short, no worries. Yeah. Alberto, can you see it?
See, yes, I can see it.
Yes, we can see it.
Excellent. Wonderful. Well, thank you for the presentation, Brent, and thank you for all the guys joining from Latin America. It's a bit late, depending on where you are. If you're in Brazil, then it's definitely very late. So thank you for joining at this hour here in Beijing. I'm sitting in my office. It's in Yenching. And yeah, I would like just to very briefly present to you how was my experience in YCA before, during, and after. My name is Jorge Filio from Mexico, and I'm from the 2021 cohort of YCA. Just a bit of information on my background. I'm a BS and a Bachelor of Science in Energy and Sustainability from Monterrey Tech University. My main focus is on clean power. I had a Master's of Management Science in Global Affairs degree from Tsinghua University. Actually, I started learning Chinese only formally until then, which is 2020. But I had started myself like 4 or 5 years before that. In my hometown in Mexico, where it was very hard to find Chinese professors. Actually, only some Cantonese speaking Chinese people living in my city could be able to teach me some words. But of course, Cantonese and Chinese Mandarin is not really the same thing, right? So yeah, here there in Tsinghua, I learned some Mandarin for the first time properly. And then at YCA, I was from the cohort that we had a first year in which we had to do it online. I have to say it was wonderful. Most of my classmates we made in through this like online forum, and it's not because you are here, Brent, but my favorite course was Ethnology, the course that you taught us. It's I would say a very good introduction to Chinese studies from the past, how people approached China from afar, and having that coupled with the readings and the lecture materials. Chinese history was really fascinating and worth for me to learn and to understand China better. Even if my previous degree also had some elements of Chinese studies because it was taught from a Chinese university, this digged deeper, I would say, in that aspect of Chinese studies. Professionally, I worked for 1.5 years in Mexico, and then I launched a crowdfunding solar platform for funding photovoltaic projects in Latin America. So if you have questions on that, I can present afterwards or share in the group chat, in the chat, sorry. During YCA, I arrived last, what was it, November 2022. So I already made a year in China, a bit more than a year in China. As I said, my colleagues, my classmates, we met online for the first time, but then here in Beijing at Jingyuan and at the YCA dormitories, we shared many memories. I think we didn't really have that many classes, but we were all doing the process of the thesis writing together. So we have so many experiences to share and so many, let's say, the nights of writing to get this thesis done on time. I think was very enriching for many of us. In my case, I wrote my thesis on a topic that I really loved, which was distributed solar energy. My advisor was from the School of Environment at PKU, and I could say I created a very strong relationship with her. So that's good for after I graduated, right? Of course, the trip to Hainan was one of the highlights of that semester as well. I was my first time going to this province. I got the chance to visit many other provinces during this second year at YCA, yeah, including Chongqing and Chengdu as well from in Sichuan and many others, right? So it was very, I would say, fascinating for me to see because it was my second time in China. The first time was only in Beijing, and I think when you live here, I mean, it's wonderful, it's amazing. But when you have the opportunity to visit other places in China, you can find out that it's so much more than you actually thought it was. So yeah, that's something that I keep as a highlight. I keep some photos here. For example, my Chinese classmates are in the picture below, four of us using our graduation guns. Actually, all of these guys stayed in Beijing after graduation, which is something that I am happy for, because we hanged out at PKU campus, and now we can hang out each one after work, doing our own respective, let's say, stuff. I put a picture here of one of my favorite, let's say, talks we had. So yeah, it's one of many. I think this is what a bi-weekly type of talks we had in YCA in the main auditorium, in which I mean, big scholars from and renowned scholars from this field come to PKU to teach us, and the scholars from both cohorts, the incumbent and the graduating cohort, on different aspects of Chinese society, economics, and uh, I could say life. So yeah, that was my life during YCA. I also found some job opportunities when I was doing my last semester there. I interned at JA Solar, which is in Chinese called Jinghao Taiyaneng, and they basically are the fourth largest manufacturer of solar panels, which was a good way for me to learn more on this field, which I already had some experience on, but now from the manufacturing side. I remember my first day there, and I was asked in Chinese about some components and some alloys that were used in the composition of the panel and in Chinese, and I was like, yeah, I think my Chinese classes were amazing, but I really need to keep on much more of a learning process if I want to make it in these kind of Chinese companies. I took a picture here, which is my desk, my former desk. It has my name in Chinese, which is Li Chuo. I was really, as I shocked to see, yeah, just my Chinese name, and because that was the way all my colleagues addressed to me, since I was the only international at that moment at the HQ, right? We also did some events in which I included international students from PKU, as you can see in the right picture. And yeah, basically had the chance to stay in China after graduation, but in another company. So what I did afterwards was to apply, thanks to a friend from the fourth cohort who connected me to this other company called Shandong Innovation Group. They manufacture aluminum products, downstream products. So if you're holding an iPhone right now, it's 7 to 10 chances that it was made in our factory in Yunnan or in Suzhou. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Even if it's not on solar or clean energy, it does have some components for manufacturing and engineering that I was very pleased to get introduced to here in China. I just put some pictures here. It's very, very interesting, the picture on the right, because we are there in Mexico, in the state of Coahuila, in the north border in Texas, checking the feng shui of our industrial plot, which I thought it was very, very, let's say, eye-opening for me, because I mean, coming from Mexico, right? I mean, the feng shui was not something I was very used to, and I never thought of it being taken into practice to industrial projects. But in this picture, you can see the engineers of this project and the chairman himself deciding on the location of the main doors of this plot of our future soon to be factory, based on feng shui parameters, which I thought was fascinating. Yeah, and if you have questions, you can ask later. But in essence, where you put doors in I'd say in a house, in a plot, in an area, is very important for feng shui purposes. For example, if you are in Gugong, in the Forbidden City in Beijing, you will discover that there is no really Northgate. I mean, there is, but it's not really something common in China because it's something that was bad for feng shui. So yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, that is my job, and this is me now. I could say, which I cannot move the. Oops. Wait, I think there's an issue with my. Okay, me now. I'm working here in this company for the past 5 months now. I occasionally travel to Suzhou and to Shandong, where is the HQ of the company. And doing this project overseas, which is an investment in Mexico, I've learned a lot about FDI in Latin America. Like, how do Chinese companies go? Who do they ask for advice to? How do they maneuver a very different environment for them when they go abroad? So this is something that I think is fascinating to see from the back end, right? From behind the curtains. So that's something. Yeah. If you have questions, you can ask afterwards. Yeah, I live in Dongjimen. I have a dog, and I usually hang out with the Latin community here in Beijing. Of course, also with Chinese friends, and visit Tsinghua and Beida, my alma maters, both of them, every once in a while, right? Finally, I never stopped learning Chinese. Even at the workplace, you have daily meetings in Chinese, English, or Spanish. You'll need to focus a lot, and it's quite a process. It's very very enjoyable, and I'm yeah, very happy to have stayed in China after YCA graduation. So yeah, that's a bit of my experience before, during, and after YCA. And yeah, I mean, thank you, Brent, for inviting me, and to the admin for this opportunity. And yeah, I invite everyone
Awesome.
to participate and apply.
Thanks so much, Jorge. What is your dog's name?
Tommy. His name is Tommy.
What's
He
that?
already had it. Tommy.
Ah, awesome.
Yeah, he's not a
Awesome.
Chinese
So
name though.
I'm really, really cute dog. I'm glad you're still in Beijing and enjoying your post graduation life. I mean, I think it's your story about needing to learn some industry specific terminology and vocabulary. I think that's something that everyone will experience, no matter how high your Chinese language level is when you finish the academic stage of your career. There's always more you need to learn. I think the goal is to get to professional fluency and know how to study and then figure out what you need to teach yourself so that you can be a working professional in the language. So really awesome. And it's amazing that you get to go home every couple of months. That's I'm probably more like twice a year rather than every couple of months. Excellent. Okay, so next, Alberto, will you go ahead and share for us, please?
Great. Thank you, Jorge, and thank you, Dinhas. Let me figure out how to do this. It should be okay now, I think. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, it's good. We see it now. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, great. Hi everyone. Gracias por unirse a esta sesión. We hope to see your applications, and please feel free to ask any questions throughout the session and after the session as well. So my name is Alberto. I'm from El Salvador, and I received my undergrad from a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Science from Duke Kunshan University in China. And I also got a BA in Interdisciplinary Studies, Environmental Science, Public Policy from Duke University in the United States. I will walk you through some of my internship experience and just some experiences that made it a little bit, more. I mean, it was good for applying to Yenching Academy. So I have worked in the permanent mission of El Salvador to the United Nations in New York. I've also interned at the Ministry of Public Works and Transportation in El Salvador, at the Legislative Assembly in El Salvador. I have also been an undergraduate researcher at the DKU Global Health Research Center, which has allowed me to publish two papers in academic journals. I've also worked before in the DKU Humanities Research Center, Duke University Stanford Policy Lab, DQ Center for Center Teacher and Learning, DQ Library, Student First. And I'm also the co-founder of a political party in El Salvador called Nuestro Tiempo. I was also the policy lead at Duke's International Students Association, and just the rest of the information that you can see there. As you see, I had an interdisciplinary background, but they were still connected in a way to what I'm still doing at the academy. Um, During YCA, I've been interning at um, uh, a joint program between the largest alternative asset manager company in the world and a sustainable finance institute in Beijing. And honestly, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the motivations who are applying to YCA. I think one of the big things that Dean has mentioned is that a highlight is the people that we meet here. So I really wanted to be surrounded by like-minded colleagues, not necessarily agreeing in everything, but people who have big goals and have age interest in China as well. So that's something that is very appealing about the academy. I also wanted to strengthen my Chinese language skills, which the academy allows you in the first year to take Chinese courses as part of the requirements, unless you have already like great Chinese, right? And in the second year, you can also apply for a Chinese language scholarship that also the academy will sponsor you. I also was really interested about Peking University's prestige and rich history that Dean has already talked to you a little bit about. It's a great university. The I think it's the top in China according to the latest rankings that were released like 2 days ago. Um, and also the appealing degree and curriculum structure. This is an interdisciplinary master's. So we get the opportunity to focus on our concentration, but also take classes across different fields, not only at the Yenching Academy, but also throughout different schools at Peking University. And also the research opportunities, Dean has already mentioned about it as well. We get funding to conduct research through the Dean's Research Grant and also for the China in Transition Session 2 course. That's second semester, sorry, which also allowed me personally to go to Shanxi to, sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation, pretty sure I am, to conduct research about the energy transition that the province is experiencing, trying to move away a little bit from carbon and looking forward to China's 2060 carbon neutrality goal. Um, Another thing that I would really want to share with you today is my experience as a Yenching scholar. My cohort was able to start here from the very first day, come to China. Um, so our experience has been a little bit different, has been pretty good. I joined a few months later, but I wouldn't really change it for anything. The personalized academic support that we've received, we have a faculty advisor and we also have a thesis advisor. Sometimes it can be the same person, but in my case, I've had two different ones. And the relationship that I have with my thesis advisor is really good. He's the dean of the College of Environmental Science. He's very supportive. We have great communication, and he's always willing um, to guide me throughout the process. Also, the inspiring colleagues. Everyone is doing different things. People have different focus, but what brings us together, I would say, is that um, we have big goals, and it's not a competition. Everyone is very supportive. We have, channels to share. Oh, there's this new job or this new internship opportunity. Take a look at it. We're always trying to think about how we can help each other out and inspire each other. The great amenities, we live very comfortably on campus, which is very close to our teaching building as well. It's convenient if you are someone who doesn't wake up too early before class. You can run to class and make it on time as you should as a Yenching scholar. Then all the resources that Peking University has to offer. We have a library in the Yenching Academy, like where we live, but there's also other libraries throughout campus that you can use for your studies during your time at Yenching Academy. Also the field studies. I'm so jealous of the ninth cohort, and Dean Haas and all the Lao Shis and everyone who's there right now. They're in Chengdu, as Dean Haas has mentioned. That allows you to see China from a different perspective, and it's not just about studying it on the books, but you get to see it. You get to meet a lot of people and get perspectives that, getting, if you want to know about China, you have to be here. And the Yenching Academy offers you that platform. So I would really like to see more Latin American students applying and joining the academy. The renowned faculty, Peking University is prestigious, so it can attract great people, great scholars from across fields to help us out. High quality education, flexible academic path. I am doing my concentration is economics and management, which has allowed me to do something that is different from my undergrad. Undergrad was public policy, environmental science, and this is economics and management, which can be a little bit different. And just the opportunities to engage with the larger PKU community. I think that's something that our program like makes me very proud about our program. We are part of the larger PKU community. We're integrated. We're on campus. We can join other activities. We are encouraged to do it and to not only get to know the Yenching scholars, but the great students and faculty and staff at Peking University. And just Beijing is great. Beijing is great. I've lived in China before for a year and a half, but my China experience then was very different. Having lived in a small city close to Shanghai, where I currently am, I'm visiting at the moment. So just Beijing is very rich culturally. You can see a little bit of everything and get to meet other people as well. So highly recommend. Let me see what else, if I have anything else here. How do I do this? Oh, my thesis is on looking at China's development goals and the allocation of outward foreign direct investment in Latin America and some of the environmental implications that it has. And this is what I was doing in as part of my China transition class. And these are some of the other things that I've done. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to let us know. We're here to help. We really want to have high quality applicants who, can make Latin America proud. So if we can support you in any way, please let us know. And yeah, thank you so much for listening to me. Now I need to figure out how to stop sharing my screen, which I don't know. Okay, there you go.
There you go. Thank you so much. Okay, so we just had a question that popped up actually right now in the chat. If you choose the economics and management area, can you still take electives from other departments? Absolutely. You are not restricted to take electives only in your research area. You take whatever electives you want at Yenching Academy, as long as they fit in your schedule. And I encourage you to be strategic about the electives that you take. Maybe there's an area or a methodology or a theory that you feel you're not strong enough in. So try to use your electives to strengthen your academic profile. But also just take things that you're interested in. Everyone should take my course, as Jorge said, the history of the field, sinology, and China studies from a global perspective. Alberto made the mistake of not taking the course, but he's still, despite that, he's still a very, very smart person. So it's okay. But no, you should absolutely take any courses you're interested in. I also think it's important. Economics and management is the research area in many ways that has the sort of highest barrier for entry. Have you taken, it's not only have you taken microeconomics, macroeconomics, statistical analysis, but, Alberto, he did environmental studies and public policy, but was able to present himself and have a sort of research plan that was very convincing and allowed him to take economics into management. Now, I don't remember exactly what your academic profile was. I don't remember the courses you've taken, but it's not even, you must have taken micro and macro or you cannot do economics and management, because economics and management is inherently interdisciplinary. You could, if you've never taken statistical analysis or micro and macroeconomics, then maybe you're not well suited to do a highly statistical regression analysis focused, master's thesis. But maybe you've taken like management theory, and you want to look more at HR policies in Chinese companies. There are a lot of ways that you can frame it. It's, I mentioned that we have, in your application package, you have lots of things that you need to submit, but essentially you have three things that you control: your personal statement, your statement of research interest, and your CV or resume. You're not going to see the letters of recommendation. You can't change your academic transcript, but those three things, the 2 essays and the CV, are in your control. And so I encourage you to think of them in sort of a conflicting way. It is it's all part of one application package, but each of these individual parts, the personal statement, statement of research interest, and CV or resume, should emphasize different aspects of you as an applicant to the program. They need to be connected, but they need to emphasize sort of different areas of who you are. A bit of advice: never, ever, ever in a cover letter or a personal statement simply regurgitate the things that you've done on your CV. That's always a bad look. You want to tell us more about who you are in the personal statement. Tell us about who you want to become as a scholar in the statement of research interest, and then use your CV to give us some of the details of the things you've accomplished. Cool. So do we have any other questions? Please feel free to type them into the chat. Or if you would like to digitally raise your hand, you are welcome. We'll hang out for a couple of minutes, but if we don't hear anything or see anything in the chat, then we'll call close the event soon. But I do see one person's typing in the chat right now. We'll wait for this person. Jorge, I can't believe you took my course last year or 2 years ago.
No, 2 years ago, 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spring of 2021.
It's COVID and resulting policies. It's so hard to time. It's weird to say, but even as a historian, time for me has become very hard to remember over the COVID period.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, 2 years ago.
So where are you living now in Beijing?
Dongjimen, very close to
Dongjimen.
Yeah, Dongjimen. To the
Are you inside of the second ring road or outside of the second ring road? Dongjimen Ne or what?
Ne. So it's still inside. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Okay, so I don't know. I'm not seeing any more. I see someone typing. Okay, here's a question. This person has a background in Chinese language from a Confucius Institute, but have not taken HSK. Is it still valued for my application? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Any background you have in Chinese language study, studying in China, courses related to China, papers you've written, jobs you've had that were China related, I recommend you emphasize those in your application package. It can be very helpful. The HSK is just the standardized test for non-native Chinese speakers. It's the standard that everyone in China and mainland China knows. So we have a good sense what your level is if you say you're HSK 3 or if you're HSK 6. You only are required to submit an HSK 6 passing score if you want to place out of the Chinese as second language courses. And you don't even, If you are admitted into the program for next fall and you complete the HSK level 6 in the summer, then you can still place out of Chinese language courses in the fall. If you're admitted in the fall and you complete HSK 6 in, say, November of next year, then you can place out of Chinese language courses in the spring, should you choose to do so, but it's not required. Excellent. If someone has a question that they're trying to answer, please digitally raise your hand or let us know that you're working on that now. If we don't hear any responses, I think we'll go ahead and wrap today's info session. All right. Well, I think we're going to call it. Oh, okay. We've got a hand up. Good job. Just in time. Just in time. So go ahead and type your question in. Okay. There we go. Do we need to have any work experience to apply for the program? No, you do not. We have a significant number of students apply to the program in their final year of university and maybe don't have any direct professional experience. So it's not required. But if you do have internship or professional experience that you think is useful in terms of making you a stronger applicant to the program, please feel free to tell us about that. We're happy to hear. It looks like the same person is typing another message in. We will be putting a link to this meeting up on our website. So you will be able to see it. There are also multiple other public information sessions on the website, but I recommend that you wait a day or two, and this will be publicly available on our website. And one of my colleagues has just shared the link to our website where you will be able to see this probably under the admissions tab, I believe. Okay. Well, Jorge, Alberto, thank you both so much for joining us. We know your time is precious and we appreciate you being willing to share your experiences, and we appreciate both of you just being generally awesome. Hope you have a great day. Thank you everyone for joining us for this open information session with a focus on potential applicants from Latin America. We really hope to see your applications. The last bit I'll say is that graduate school applications is a challenging process. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of mental energy, especially focused when you have other things going on in your life. But don't be surprised that it takes a lot of emotional energy too, to actually reflect on who you are, where you want to go, to put your best self forward in the application process. It is challenging, but it is very, very rewarding. I hope that whatever happens in the application process, you feel that you've come out of it knowing yourself a little bit better. And in the best case scenario, hopefully you will know yourself a little bit better and you will get an offer to become a member of the 10th cohort of Yenching Scholars. Thank you all so much. Have a great day or a great night, wherever you may be. I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and we hope to see your application soon. Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.